Hello and welcome back to the port. I'm the Gallop Major and this is a Sea Trials. With a season of ranked around the corner, I thought it'd be good to analyse a ranked gameplay just to show the kind of things that I expect, but also showing off a good gameplay. This was originally submitted for amateur reports, but I thought might as well do this just to help people. Now looking at the other team, Akatsuki, Kid. Kid has Heel, single torpedo launcher, is a gunboat. Akatsuki is a torpedo boat. Shores is a Russian cruiser with radar, 9 kilometers range, 15 seconds duration. Then the Maiku is just a heavy Japanese cruiser with long range torps. Gneisenhower, brawling battleship torpedoes. KG-5, HE spammer. Colorado, 16-inch guns and very, very slow. Highlighted on the map is where I'm expecting the enemy team to be, but also with ranked only having 2 destroyers, one has to go left, one has to go right. And then I've also kind of drawn a line down through his team, just showing I'd like 1 cruiser, 1 battleship to back up Saxman at Charlie, and 1 cruiser and 2 battleships to back up the Akatsuki at Bravo. So as the countdown starts to tick away, Saxman's already getting himself in position. He's acknowledged that he has to go to Charlie. And straight off the bat, you'll see that he asks the Akatsuki, can you go to Bravo? Because the last thing you want is 2 destroyers to go to the same objective, because with ranked, it's so crucial to have a objective advantage over the enemy team. Now here's an interesting one. On Saxman's setup, he can lock guns using the joystick, and so he's already preemptively locked his guns facing rearwards, so means when he moves into the objective he can then turn and have his guns trained into the corner of the island. So he's already starting to plan how he's going to make those engagements, and he has RDF, and from the RDF we know there's something on the other side of the island, probably about there on the minimap. This is all the kind of information you need to take in. Also, looking at the map, I just highlighted that the Akatsuki is making a push for Bravo, but Saxman's bigger units just don't seem to be moving as quickly as I would like. So Saxman's team start to take advantage of capturing Bravo, but the enemy is nowhere to be seen. However, some of their heavy units do start to get spotted on the map, and as you can see, Saxman is now pushing into Charlie, and he's acting that turn to bring his guns on target. And there we go. So he's got himself into position, and based on the RDF, we have a vague idea where the nearest enemy is. And so he's managed to get his guns beautifully lined up on target, because that's one of the downsides of the Maass, is her slow turret traverse speed. And he locks his guns again, now he's got them perfectly aligned. Here's an interesting one. Now he's contested, and from the RDF we know I have a really good idea where the enemy is. We know they're just on the other side of the island. Now I also like to highlight that all the enemy units are spotted, all the big ones, apart from their destroyers, and they haven't started to take Alpha yet. So for all we know, there could be 2 destroyers here. Now from the RDF we can start to predict the enemy is going to start coming around the corner, so he gets his first volley of torpedoes out. And 1 destroyer is now spotted on the minimap, so we know we've got 1 destroyer here, but also because we've seen all their heavy units, we know that whatever it is, it's not supported. And it's the Akatsuki, so this is where I want to put the sonar on. Saxman does it, and in his own commentary that he submitted along with this, he admits that that was one of his mistakes. There you can see that he's aiming at the deck line of the Akatsuki and about the engine space. The reason being is he keeps knocking out the engine of the Akatsuki, and by having those shells landing in that vicinity, he has a good chance of knocking out the torpedo tubes on the Akatsuki. However, he has a bit of a squeaky moment, but he's able to make good of it. So the nearest enemy ship to Saxman at the moment is the enemy Shores, which you can see on the map at the length of the island. And so I think this is why it informs his next decision. He starts to back up, just probably to make sure that he's got open options. Now, looking at the minimap, the Akatsuki, or friendly Akatsuki in Bravo, is still up front, but he seems to be coming back. It's quite a strange one. Now, by Saxman backing up here, it gives him options. He could go left or he could go right. Basically, he can either go back and back up the rest of his team, I guess you could say, or he could go left, flank the enemy, and try and just make sure they're penned up. Because they haven't spread out, they're kind of a bit in a dangerous, precarious position. Now, the friendly Akatsuki just seems to be leaving Bravo, which personally I don't like. I think the Akatsuki should stay up front. It looks like the Akatsuki's going on a bit of a torpedo, a battleship hunt, I guess you could say. Also, there appears to be a friendly cruiser coming over this way. It's almost like a little too little, a little too late. So from the map you can see where the enemy teams are, the kid's spotted, and I'd recommend the Akatsuki should go back. However, that's in the ideal world. It's one of the reasons why I don't rank torpedo boats too highly in ranked, because they get so sidetracked with trying to go torpedo something that they kind of forget. So here's just an opportunity here. You can see the Colorado's coming around the corner. There's a gap in the island, so it's a good time to get some fish in the water. However, this island on Saxman's starboard side obviously impedes him a little bit, but he does get the fish out into the water. Just want to draw your attention back to the mini-map so we know vaguely where the enemy destroyer is at the moment, as it is spotted. Now here, again, Saxman admits he's made a slight mistake in his commentary that he did submit. By going left here, he's going towards the Colorado. Perhaps he should have gone right back there and gone around the island and stayed behind it, but it's easy to be wise at the moment. So this is where Saxman just takes a little bit of pain, just because he is spotted and he is pretty much surrounded by enemies. It's almost just a case of just trying to get undetected.
Mande morra. Dentro de un ratito.
However, the Saxman's now taken over from his friendly Akatsuki. Ideally, the friendly Akatsuki should be in this vicinity doing this kind of job of being the destroyer screen for the friendly units. So there's an interesting one. His RDF changes. So the location of the nearest enemy ship switches from behind him to the front of him, and I highlighted there. So we know something's off in that vicinity, but it's also either behind an island or outside of his detectability range. And therefore, the enemy cruiser's over there, so therefore we know it's got to be the kid, the destroyer, as the RDF switches over to this side of the island. And based on the RDF, whatever it is, it's going to be close. Because there's not a lot of land between, or island left, I guess you could say. So, Saxman is spotted, there's the kid. Knocks out the engine, knocks out a turret, sets the fire. It's already putting the kid under a lot of hurt. Now here's an interesting one, he slows down, so he stays in front of the kid, so that he can bring all of his guns to bear, but the kid can only bring his front turrets to bear. So this is a very tactical manoeuvre, making sure that you've got the DPM advantage. Here I'd like to highlight that he's aiming at the deck line, so again continuing to try and knock out torpedo tubes, which he does, but also to keep the engine disabled if they haven't got that unstoppable trait. And here he's just basically, he's able just to pick off the kid. And that ends the game. So going to the end screen, obviously he's able to rank up because when you win you gain a star. Looking at the score, so only able to make 351,000 credits, but then that doesn't include ship costs, and I'm not sure exactly what boosters he had in this one, but he managed to do 44,000 damage. 2 kills. I mean, that's quite nice. Devastating strike and first blood. and then, as you can see, came top of the team. Now, the way that ranked works is that everyone on the winning team gains a star, and on the losing team, everyone loses a star apart from the person who comes in first place. So the Colorado on the other team doesn't gain or lose a star. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this Sea Trials. It wasn't intended, but I thought with ranked around the corner it'd be worthwhile. If you'd like the video, give it a thumbs up. Until next time, I'm the Gareth Major, and back to the port.